Great, we're live. Cool. Leanne, do you want to kick start? Can you hear me?
I can.
You can. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can. You can. Leanne, can you hear me? Hello? Yes?
Yes, I can hear. Thanks, Rosie. Do you want us to start?
Yes, we can start. Is it delayed on your side, Leanne?
No, it seems all good. Should we? So let me do a quick introduction, Rosie. Let me start. So I'm Sasha. I'm from Job Crystal, and we have developed an AI tool that helps on the recruitment side. We thought today we'd make it a little bit more exciting and interesting and share our favorite AI tool currently. So within the recruitment side, I'm loving something called Kick Resume, which helps candidates create their own CVs and also creates interview questions. So you get an idea on what kind of questions. But on a personal front, I'm loving remove.bg. So you can take an image and it removes the background for you. So you can create your image off the side, you know, if you want to go sit on the beach or something, it gives you this cool feature. So Leanne, what have you found? And do you want to do a quick intro?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Leanne from Mentor, and we provide AI-powered chatbots for HR operations and support. And my newest favorite AI tool is Zoom's AI Summary. It gives you an automated summary of the meeting and even with follow-up actions already assigned afterwards. Rosie.
Nice. I'm Rose, founder of Virtual HR Solutions. We're an HR consultancy, and we are using AI for an engagement tool that we use, also hosted on WhatsApp. It's called Pulse, and it's all about sentiment analysis related to retaining your talent and making sure everybody's engaged in the organization. I also am using a tool similar to you, Leanne, related to kind of a note taker on video calls. And we found this really cool case to use it for, which is counseling employees. We like to have a debrief of the session after every counseling takes place. So with this tool, we really don't have to debrief any sessions anymore. It's done for us. So it really helps us with, you know, time efficiency. It's called Sibyl, the one we use.
Awesome. Thanks, Rosie. Thanks, Sasha. So we came together today to tell you all about AI in HR. And why we came together is help you understand how to make the most of AI in HR in order to take away the robotics in HR and help you and your teams to be more humane. This talk is being recorded, so if you do drop off afterwards, you can always access it again with a link. But we do want to actually ask everyone to post their questions in the box, here in the chat box on the screen, and then we will allow time afterwards for Q&A as well. So an interesting fact, it took Google 1 year and 2 months to reach 100 million users. TikTok took 9 months, and ChatGPT took 2 months. And this is not just a fad. AI is real. I believe that AI enables HR to be less transactional and more relational. And it empowers HR with instant access to deep data for better strategic decisions also on the go. So I've been part of HR discussions over this last while and from very different angles. And the one thing that really does emerge now is that no longer HR is something that people think about whether they're going to embed it in the work in the future, but what they can do right now and what makes sense, and also how to deploy it in a secure way for the business. So Deloitte reports that 69% of executives rate personalized employee experiences via HR chatbots as a high priority. And Gartner reported that 63% of HR leaders say generative AI can improve efficiency. why we came together is to help you see that AI is not scary, but actually incredibly valuable with a proven ROI. And it is fun. And it doesn't need to be this massive change. There are many tools that help you work smart and not hard, step by step. But we'll be telling you about some of them. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Sasha to kick us off.
Perfect. Thank you, Leanne. So I'm going to tell a little bit of our story of how we came about the AI side. So we started developing in 2020, thought we could create it in 3 months, and we only launched last year, 2022. So it took more than 2 years. And I think as a computer programmer myself, I really thought it was a bit like, it's like a software program or a website. You create it once, it's done, it's done. Obviously, you can do updates, but AI is nothing like that. AI is a continuous learning machine that you have to kind of keep going. It's not a once-off stop shop like a website. So, a lot of people are comparing this to the .com boom that happened. And where, yes, the .com, you could make a website, you could do e-commerce and sell products. AI is always going to be on the go. It's always changing. It's never a stagnant type of website. So from an IT point of view, I think people need to understand AI is not just a set little box that you can do. It's always going to be a generative. So it's an expensive hobby. I think we've all realized getting into AI and how it works. So kind of where our story comes through is I had been a candidate. I had been retrenched and knew what it felt like to find a job. And I had worked in the corporate world and known what a struggle it was to recruit. And didn't understand that there's millions of people that create CVs and thousands of companies that create job specs, and why the two just can't talk to each other. It's really, it kind of mind boggle. So that's why we created our AI tool. So to take a job description that all clients have to create for their jobs and to match it to the candidates out there and to widen that pool and to look at a wider range of candidates. So it's definitely helped our current clients. Our focus initially was on the SME market. And we found that if we could hire a really good person, so we all three know with our businesses that you hire one really good salesperson, it can change your business completely. And we thought, why not if you could hire one good person in less time? So AI takes almost 75% out of the time to hire, and make that person part of your business to grow. As a startup, we know that we need to hire, we need to fail fast, we need to learn. We've heard all of this stuff as well. But if AI can help you hire faster, it helps you learn faster, specifically in a business where you have to recruit, because you have to recruit the talent to be able to build onto your own company and to make sure that the revenue grows with that. So some use cases, we've had some phenomenal use cases with some of our clients that have used us. So quite strong on the tech side. A lot of companies use us to come and find their tech talent. But we recently had a client who used looking for a sales administrator. So back to the sales, it's definitely the flavor of the year. 2023 has been all about sales and sales staff. So he kind of used the AI tool to go and look for a sales candidate. Within 7 days, had his short list of 3 candidates that he interviewed. Within 10 days, he had made an offer, and that candidate is still there, thriving in the business and going really, really well. On another front, quite a big company. So yes, we focus on SMEs, but obviously some corporates use this as well. One of the big corporates was looking for a Python developer. So a bit of an AI type developer when they're using Python, and found that that Python developer was a data scientist that they found. They had used several other recruitment platforms to go and look for the data scientist, came on board, found this particular guy that he hired within 7 days on the platform, which the AI gives them. They don't have to go and search. And he's also happily and thriving in the business at the moment. So the use case shows that it works. We've got a 95% match accuracy. So that just shows you what AI can do. And obviously everyone's scared it's going to take our jobs away. I don't think AI can do that culture fit, that gut feel, that human element. So people still need to interview. They still need to go and phone that reference and check if that person is what they say they are. But AI takes so much time of searching through thousands of CVs and having a look at the shortlist that matches your skills and experience, and you can use it to match your culture. So that's where we are currently on the AI front. Loving it. I'm a huge fan of AI. I think it's going to solve a lot of problems. I heard recently in a talk, and somebody was saying that if you can think of a pain that you're having currently, you can probably find an AI tool that will match that pain point. And if AI can solve so many of that time issues, why not? I don't think as long as we don't lose the human elements, which I don't think we're going to. So that's from Job Crystal. I'm going to hand over to Leanne from GoBentor, and she can tell us about her experience specifically on the AI side.
Awesome, thanks, Sasha. And yeah, really incredible what you've achieved with the accuracy of the matching of the candidates with the companies, and that just actually really knowing from experience as well the value that it has for both the business and the job applicants. Just actually helping people to realize their potential for what they can be. So what Mentor does is we provide AI-powered chatbots for HR that automates repetitive tasks throughout the whole employee lifecycle, from recruitment to onboarding, training, payslips, leave approvals, expense claims, performance management, and general employee queries and support. Our bots are especially of value where businesses has a large deskless workforce, because it's people who generally don't have computers at home or at office. And so our bots plug into the messaging apps that the people already have, such as WhatsApp, enabling the job applicants and the workforce to apply for jobs and be supported on the job through the chat app already in their hand, eliminating the need for computers and heavy phone data completely. At the core, we automate processes leveraging chatbots, and then we boost the bots with further AI all along the way. For example, using large language models to enable employees to query high legal speech company policies and receive back an answer in a way that they actually understand it, and even in their own language. Leveraging ChatGPT in our training bots so that learners can ask the bot further explanatory questions if they don't really understand a topic well, and using natural language processing to auto-assess a job applicant's verbal communication skills simply through a WhatsApp voice note. So most HR divisions are only starting to use AI now. So if you are from HR listening in, don't worry, you are not that far behind yet. Those that we have worked with that already did deploy AI, embrace this in their business, really have reaped the rewards though. And here are some of the stats. So our bots reduced HR support admin by as much as 80%, improved the retention of first year on the job employees by 70%, and enhanced the behavioral change following training courses by as much as 3 times. I can mention more stats, but what I'd really like to tell you about more is the human value and the impact on the people that gets unlocked by AI. So just think about it. Your next head of sales could be sitting in Soweto right now, but there's a likely no way you would be able to find her without AI. Your next product manager might be hidden in an admin role in your current company, and predictive analytics can actually help you spot his talent and tailor his development program for his type of personality. And your HR team has the potential to impact not just HR operations, but company growth as a whole, but focusing more on strategic and people being matters with the help of AI, finally unlocking their time without them being bogged down by admin as much. So I'd like to tell a little bit more about some real case examples of our AI and RPA, robotic process automation, in action. If you're a company with a large deskless workforce or have worked for one before, you will know all about all the time, cost, frustrations associated with issuing payslips, likely on paper or email, with the workforce even struggling to access that. All the leave applications that don't even follow the proper procedure, and all those same queries on policies and procedures that someone needs to deal with again and again. And that's why we developed employee self-services on WhatsApp, which means that employees can access all the support they need whenever they need it, right on the app that they already have and intuitively engage with. And at the same time, we eliminate up to 80% of the HR admin associated with these tasks. This not only makes a huge difference to the company, but also shows to the workforce that the employers actually care. With our chat-based learning tools, we are helping the training consulting firms Next9 and Complexity Fit currently to enable big corporates like F&B to bring training that's normally available only to leadership right down to bottom level employees. And this is possible because of the cost effectiveness and the accessibility of learning via WhatsApp, And engagement is incredible because it's actually fun and gamified. Another case is I&J that took a 100% paper-based recruitment process to 100% digital via WhatsApp bots. And aside from the huge value to the business and the applicants, they finally had the mechanism and insights to be able to inclusive and diverse their selection process versus just taking on those that actually turn up. Also, another one in action was when we delivered employee engagement surveys for Nando's in 7 of their countries via WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, which enabled their head office to finally attain the data they needed to adjust their HR policies and benefits adequately for the diverse demographics staff. But my first personal favorite really is still the impact we have on job seekers. With our WhatsApp application, CV building tool, and soft skills training tools, which we freely make available to all job seekers out there, we reduce their job application costs by 90% and actually make it affordable for those with no money to keep visiting internet cafes or travel to offices to apply for jobs and prepare themselves for the work adequately, all via WhatsApp. To date, we've supported over 100,000 youth in South Africa, no human involved, 100% automated via WhatsApp chatbots. So our team at Minto really loves solving problems that improve the lives of people, especially the less digitally connected, who are the workforce base of the world. So what I mentioned now is just part of our journey. And if any of you have any further problems you'd love us to solve, we'd love to have a chat. Rose, over to you.
That's so lovely to hear, Liana. I think the word that comes to mind is access, right? I think that's the one thing with this technology and the platform that you also chose to deploy it, is that it gives an incredible amount of access, and that's especially relevant to Africa, I think. As we know, we also play in the same platform. We are on WhatsApp. And what we do at VHRS is that we focus on keeping employees happy and productive after they have been hired. So all our practices are related to retention. We want to make sure that employees have the best work conditions, and this includes things like their performance management, developing their careers with them, for them to stay engaged and enjoy what they're doing, and make sure that they're satisfied. So if a company has problems, and employees become disengaged and they're underperforming, the work that we need to do as a consultancy is reactive in nature. We have to help them with providing services like counseling, poor work performance review processes, and then inquiries or hearings, retrenchments. So all of this for us is very reactive work. Now, this year, we introduced a tool called Pulse to our clients. And what Pulse is a weekly WhatsApp chatbot that does a weekly engagement. And it's all about hearing from employees. What are the highlights of the weeks? What are their difficulties? What are the stress and energy levels? And we use artificial intelligence to help them reflect better and also to spot any negative feelings. The way we do this is that every week when we gather the insights from the employees, we plug with ChatGPT and we ask ChatGPT, is this an insightful entry? And if we hear back from ChatGPT saying it's not insightful, then our bot will kickstart a video explaining how to reflect on the week of work and how to make sure that we are looking for the one thing that was a highlight for us. So AI here is helping us make sure people can reflect on the week of work. And why is it important to reflect? It's because if you want to have someone engaged, they need to be able to look back and think of the positives as well as the negatives. If we cannot have that exercise done on a weekly basis, we are probably not having an engaged workforce, to say it in a way. Now, when it comes to the sentiment that we analyze with a tool, it's all about, is it positive or negative in nature? If it is negative in nature, this send us an alert to us, the HR team, to know that there is something here that we need to delve into in between, the feedback the employees giving us on a weekly basis, as well as the feedback the manager is giving on a weekly basis, so that HR can support both employees and managers to make sure that whatever was identified is not going to continue rolling with a snowball effect, but that we can look into what's being addressed and make sure that we can act accordingly. Some of the things that we acted accordingly with is exactly what you were saying, Leanne. Policy creation, review of CTCs, activating counseling with psychologists. Those are all the actions that stem from this weekly exercise that we engage with the employees at our clients. Now, to give you a use case of how this tool, Pulse, has helped our clients, we saw a significant reduction in the need for reactive initiatives after they started using Pulse. So from the time frame of September 2022 to April 2023, they did not have Pulse. And they logged with us 10 issues of this reactive nature, like counseling and hearings and retrenchments. 10 of them we had to action on. We then put Pulse in place because we told them, listen, you need to be a little bit more proactive. We're working a lot on a reactive way. And they put Pulse in place, and the period from May 2023 to October 2023, we only had to activate 2 of those reactive processes, counseling processes. So you can see how before having Pulse into place, there were 10 issues logged. After Pulse being put into place, because 6 were being addressed proactively, we only really had to activate 2 of the other more reactive in nature products. So this shows you that our simple and weekly engagement with the add-on of AI into this system can create a proactive and positive work culture, saving time and money comparing to a more complex and reactive HR practice, if that makes sense.
Very cool. Rose, a question from my side is, does the tool work for a small amount of employees or a lot, or is it only lots of employees? I love the name, by the way. I think it's very cool with the Pulse. But does it work on a small company as well?
Yes, it does. We have clients all the way from 5 staff members all the way to 100 of staff members. And what we can see is that the tool is really adaptable in terms of what the conditions of the work environment. If you have people working remotely, if you are a type of company that really loves giving feedback, and although you have the face-to-face, you still love, to give your 90 seconds time to be able to give feedback on the tool. It's really adaptable like that. And I think that once it becomes part of the practice for the company and people really understand that by giving 90 seconds, because it's really all about a micro engagement with high frequency, that is the best thing that companies can do to make sure people are staying engaged, in the work that they do and happy as well.
Yeah, and is the conversations, are they anonymous, or can can you monitor the conversations on WhatsApp so you can kind of analyze the sentiment?
Yes, exactly. When we launch the tool with our clients, we make sure everybody knows that whatever they're inputting into the tool is going to be seen by HR, and also it's a feedback loop with their manager, so they know they are communicating to the manager. And we always say, if we wouldn't have it that way, we would not be able to work strategically with them, because if things are being said that we can't address, then the ball really stops there. But if we can reach out to them and say, listen, we saw what you logged, this is something we would like to work on, can we involve, or can we give you a resource like a psychologist or things like that? So that's really how we like to position the tool, make sure everybody understands what we do with the information, and people embrace it. I've had even people disclosing suicidal thoughts on the tool. So it really shows you how personal that space can become for people, and also how strategic in a very proactive way for HR to know that you're hearing about this 1 week at a time and you can really act on it in a proactive way.
Yeah, I think for both of you, WhatsApp is such a good tool to use, specifically in South Africa. It's the next communication tool after email. And so, Leanne, do you find, so from a client and an employee point of view, that people love using the WhatsApp tool for Mentor?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. So WhatsApp for Business, I think, was officially launched about more or less like 4 years now ago. And we even started using WhatsApp before that was available. And initially, people saw it as intruding into their privacy and didn't want to use it, didn't want to share any information because it's for personal use. But we just kept going. And as people realize how easy it is to use, and because it's right there in your hand, it's not another app or system or platform you have to log into, and I've forgotten the password again. And all the effort that goes along with that, that it actually it's so user-friendly. And the other thing that's actually incredible is it's so intuitive. So people with super low computer literacy skills, don't know much about a computer, get frustrated just using Word or something, knows intuitively how to do chats and how to engage with a bot in that manner. And that's also what we really make sure of, is that the way that our bots chat with people is really really to their culture and their situation. So it's intuitive to them. It's not just like standard high level English, your UK British English or American English. It's like really localized. And so it's been a journey. And today everybody embraces it. People really jump onto it, and we can see how incredible it is also helping businesses grow across Africa to be able to do business via WhatsApp. But there is much to it. You need to make sure that it actually integrates with your business practice and your business systems. It's not an additional system that somebody needs to run and manage a bot. So that's what we also figured out well, is how to integrate having your bot engine powered by AI tools, but then also plug it into WhatsApp or other messaging apps that people use. Facebook Messenger sometimes is more preferred, Viber, Telegram, and then also integrate it into the business systems. So embed it into or integrate with HR and payroll system, applicant tracking system, learning management system, so that the HR teams and the company actually carry on what they're doing normal, but with this really powerful engine, being able to connect with their people.
To add to what you're saying, Leanne, what happens as well with WhatsApp is that mostly Gen Z and newer generations, it's second nature, really. They don't question it, because it's where life happens. So they're much more inclined to work with a tool, and also much more, as you said, intuitive. Like they kind of know everything that's going on from the word go the moment you explain what you're doing. So we definitely see, the take on and the usage. Our user engagement, by the way, is really high on the platform. So that kind of really tells you that, yes, people are really happy to use the tool. We have 80% week on week of engagement, user engagement, considering people are sick and on leave. That's a really high engagement. And then also WhatsApp has encryption, right? So when it comes to communication tools online, WhatsApp is, one of the safest means of communications from the encryption point of view. And then, Leanne, you mentioned, how to share the information, right, that, happens on WhatsApp. I think what's also really cool for companies that tap onto this technology is that you have to make the information accessible to whoever you're, engaging with a client. So, for example, in our case, the data that we collect on a weekly basis, that gets extracted. So then they can also pull it in whatever software intelligence that they use to digest the data. Then they can do that as well. So that is also quite cool, that, it is where you channel the communication, but you can also extract insights from the data that you are collecting, to say it in a way.
Yeah, no, it is incredible with the type of data you can gather on people's behavior and further intuition into where they're at, that you generally can't if you compare that with email or web-based platforms. And that just really helps you to understand your people and your job applicants so much better in order to actually tailor the process to what works for them, and really provide also HR with awesome stats and data to be able to speak credibly about the business and make really good, justifiable recommendations for what needs to happen, versus having to wait for months and months to gather data, which you might not even be able to do so. So it really is powerful. I must say, I think security is a big question that starts to come up now. People asking about ChatGPT and all those about company policies. Companies want to ban that, for example, but there are definitely ways around that. Companies are deploying alternative generative AI models that are really ring-fenced with a security layer that just provides employees access to, say, company policies, and curated websites are not just like the whole world, and it also doesn't expose their questions to the world. So there are definitely ways around this, and I think people shouldn't shy away, just keep on asking questions. It's also interesting to see, I think, people starting to implement AI just for the sake of doing it, and it doesn't really necessarily make sense, and it also wouldn't work if you don't have the base layer already in place and your process is working. So you need to have a good infrastructure in order to leverage the value of AI. Otherwise, it's going to be noise and confusing everyone, and just be disjointed.
So there's a new AI tool called ZeroGBT. There's a few others, but it can check the content that is created, if it was created by a machine or by a human. And that's being used quite a lot. So there's a new tool, I can't remember what it's called, but you can go onto LinkedIn when you go on a post, for example, the guys that are on at the moment, and you can go and it'll type a response to this webinar now. So sometimes now, you don't even know if your LinkedIn comments are from a human or from a machine. So there's all of that's coming through of how much is authentic and how much is a machine. But I think we need to remember that machine work that it did come from a human at some point. That's what generative AI is. It's using what came through from the past, and that's kind of how generative of AI works going forward.
And Sasha, I'm curious about your deployment of AI. So when you put a job ad out there and you start receiving applications in volume, then what you very much do is put a criteria together related to the job that you're looking at in terms of the skill set, the type of degree that you want, and maybe even personality traits or things that then you will kind of like scrape the whole base that you gathered and get you, does it some sort of analyzing data, or is it more like kind of like identifying and putting together the shortlist based on what you're feeding it?
So we use the job description, so we use that. And I always say to our clients, you can put in as much as you want of loyal and hardworking. A machine's never going to know if somebody's, even as humans, when we interview people, we don't know if they're loyal or hardworking. So it picks up on the hard skill. It can pick up the degree, how many years experience, if you have Python, PHP experience, etc. And it matches on those. And we use a range of algorithms with the AI, with machine learning, NLP, etc., to do the matching on that. Our AI isn't generative, so it's not going to generate any content like ChatGPT does. But having said that, we've put a chatbot onto our site, which does use generative AI. So there's different AIs, and you can use them differently. But generally, that's how the tool does on the matching side.
And Sasha, related to that, so how do you see yours? What is the value maybe that yours provide for, say, South Africa type of or African type of job applicants versus more a European or American type of job applicants AI recruitment tool? Is there a difference or is there not?
So there is a difference. We are about to launch into England. So there isn't really a difference between Europe and Africa. We pretty much use the same technology, same titles, same CVs, etc. The US is a bit different, bit of different jargon, resumes, vice presidents, that kind of stuff. But you can still teach the machine based on that. We've created the model enough to be able to do different languages. I think, Rose, you were talking about that your system can help with different languages as well. And Leanne, you have to answer me on that one as well, as can your machine do it on different languages? But Jenny, if you can teach a model in English, you can teach a model in French. So we've got the capability. So maybe Leanne, does your system allow for different languages? Specifically in Africa, just South Africa, we've got 11 official languages.
Yeah, so we it's not our own in-house developed AIs. We plug in AI tools that does have that NLP capability of languages and African languages, written and spoken. And those we really are actually awesome ones like that already developed. So we help embed them into the process and the infrastructure of our use case and applications. But your interesting thing, I think, where South Africa comes to play, or more the developing world, is sometimes AI is awesome when there's already a digital footprint of individuals and already a lot of data variable on them. And quite often here we sit with people who don't have that. Now, looking at more, say, your deskless workforce, they don't go on post on LinkedIn. There's no feeds, no insights to gather from them online. Their CVs are quite often handwritten. And so, so we started off at the base of robotic process automation, just using chatbots to help them firstly gather the information, the base that is required in order to gather and derive some insights from. And I wanted to mention that is also because I think the hype of AI is sometimes actually when you can have the most clever things, but when the reality strikes, it might not be relevant to your use case where you're at. So it's also it's really is a distinction and being insightful of where you apply AI and where not.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're saying, because for us, this product that we developed, we have had this product for several years, and we just delivered it in the most archaic way, you know, with emails and forms, and then me facilitating sessions in person. But what that gave us is that I was so confident in the product because I know what it can do on a very analog way. So for us, hopping it into WhatsApp, into the technology, and adding this, the artificial intelligence on it, it really took a very short period of time, because the whole product was already very fleshed out and we knew what it was delivering, right? And when it came to, for example, the sentiment analysis that we do, it's exactly the same principles that I applied myself when doing the sessions live, that we now tell the model to apply for red flagging things. So when we see, you know, negative sentiment, or there's also a sentiment, we do like a rating scale, right? So we know when things are being like addressed as, you know, development is needed or things like that, that's what we are red flagging. So for us, it was like, cool, what I was used to do in person, you know, with the people in front of me, the sessions that I was facilitating, I now grab those insights and tell the machine, when you see this and that, this is what you need to do for us, right? So I think that's, you know, to use the technology without having a solid case, a solid product before, it's almost like you're bound to fail, because what are you trying to really do, right? You need to have substance, something that you know it works, and then you hop it into the technology who's going to facilitate this at scale, to say it in a way. That's the advantage of it. That's kind of how we see it.
I can imagine. So ours is a SaaS tool, so we don't have to do an implementation side. So I think for both of you, Leanne, I want to start with you. How long does the implementation process take for clients? You know, is there a big change management process, or how do you implement the bot?
Yeah, no, good question. So because I think also the notion of AI and tech, it seems complicated and people think, oh, too much, you just have too much on our plate. It does depend on the situation. Our implementations, for example, can be done within like a matter of almost moments. We have well-developed chatbot infrastructure with embedded AI tools in there already, which we can plug instantly into the business recruitment or employee self-service or employee queries support services. However, we also really provide service of customizing it to the business-specific processes and needs. And obviously, that customization process might take a little bit of a while, anything from a few days to a few weeks, depending on the nature of what the business wants. We can tailor the recruitment process specifically to their ways of doing, or their way of leave application processes, or actually also develop chat-based learning from their online content or their face-to-face training content. But why it also makes it so easy to implement is because we already have developed APIs into the most common internal HR and payroll systems, and also some recruitment systems, LMS systems. So just literally having an API key, plugging in, and off you go. So it can be as quick as that.
Awesome, super easy. And Rose, for your side, is it quite easy as well to implement that into business?
Yeah, I think for us, there's you know, we only have one type of product, right? So that's different, that it doesn't have to play different roles. It's like, you know, it's the one engagement that happens on a weekly basis and it's always the same, right? So we have that kind of, so that is for us, for companies, we work on also the SME field, usually companies that don't have had exposure to HR before, and it's kind of the first. So it's a very easy way to come on board and say, guys, this is what we used to engage. Now, if there's companies that have had something previously, there is a little bit of understanding what is the purpose of using the tool, right? So we are very intentional when we deploy the tool to do a launch where we explain exactly what the tool is going to be doing for people, and then have them use it. We also have very good mechanisms of understanding when a user does not engage with the tool, and we come back to them and we explain to them on the tool, right? So again, this is all automated to say, listen out, this is why we're doing this exercise to keep people engaged. So there is, WhatsApp allows you to engage with people like that it feels intimate and personal, and you're in a continuous conversation with them. So that makes it, again, quite easy and pleasant to use. Come back to it to see it in a way. So I guess that's one of the reasons why the user engagement is high.
Awesome.
Cool. I have a question to you two both, or either of you, because this is one that comes up. Is AI going to replace the role of HR, or how do you see this pan out in the future?
I went to my marketing team. I said, I think it's time that we write a blog saying, is it time to fire your HR? Because of AI and the scariness. You look at copywriters and the writers' strike in the US, where generative AI has caused a big disruption in that industry. I don't think so. I still think, it's called human resources for a reason. And I do think that there's a human element that I don't think a machine can take away from. I don't think anyone needs to get rid of HR. I just think HR is going to be a whole lot smarter with AI.
Yeah, my take on that is that we've seen it ourselves when we implemented this tool in our clients, how we had to change the way we work for our clients. Because now it wasn't about, being there, face to face, identifying the issues. Now it was like, we need to monitor engagement, we need to spot the red flags, and we are the ones that need to come back with a solution for the person, because now we know the issue, right? We don't have to unpack that. It's unpacked for us. Now we need to solve it. So there's definitely a different skill set required to do that. What I often see with HR is that people get, when you're an HR, right, like you start in HR, you are probably focused or exposed to admin work, procedures, and that type of mindset. If you don't move yourself to growing into being a problem solver, right, for your company, you're probably going to stay in a level where you can be replaced for doing those things, because, Leanne, you deliver the policy, and those procedural things and lead management are going to get done by the bot. Now, what you do with the information that the bot will provide you requires a high level of skill, right? So what I see is that those people that have it in them to show up to the challenge of solving problems, human dynamic problems, which are the most complex to solve, those are the ones that are going to benefit from having this tool and to use it to advance their careers. But unfortunately, I must say, I get surprised when I see people that show up to that challenge. It's most of the time the answer is not. People don't show up to that thing. So that is a little bit worrying for me. Are people having those conversations with themselves to say, what do I do with this? As opposed to just accepting it that now they don't have a job, right?
Yeah, I agree.
No, awesome points. So I also really actually just now this morning heard somebody speak about this topic. I'm going to mention his name because he really has so much insights, Johan Stein. And he worded well. He said that, yes, AI can take away a lot of those things, but it can't take away the human gut and common sense. And essentially, and so many things, we still will need the human to really have that final judgment and final humane aspect into what happens with the final actions. We still remain the jockey. We still remain being able to steer this thing. Yes, maybe you can let go, let the car drive itself. And maybe over time, we will start to actually trust it more and more and do that more. But there's something that AI can't do. It can't replace the actually lived experiences of people and the common sense they developed over time from that. And so yes, no, there is definitely a role for us. It will be interesting to see in the future, potentially there might need to be job descriptions for AI. So and human resources, so not just people management, but also robotics management. But we'll see when we get there.
So there's a new job already ChatGPT created called a prompt engineer. So people that type into ChatGPT to get the right information. So there's already new jobs that AI is creating and creating them fast. There used to be a DevOps side, there's now an ML ops. So it's definitely creating more jobs. So it's going to be definitely going to be an interesting time to see what AI brings.
100%. What a great conversation. So nice to unpack, a little bit more about this subject. Leanne, you said it very well that in South Africa, in our landscape, we need to have reference of local people working with this, day in, day out, that we can refer to and kind of learn and stay abreast, with what's happening in our landscape. Yeah,
absolutely. I think if there's anyone still listening in and would like to ask a question, you're welcome to post it on the chat box.
Yeah, we did have a couple of comments, but I don't see questions. I see just comments of praise. Sasha, you got some praise there. Yeah. I mentioned to you before that I did have the one question from a client, someone that we were pitching, that I thought it was quite a question to post out there, which was related to, we do sentiment analysis and through Pulse, a tool hosted on WhatsApp. So then this client said, okay, but then why don't you just analyze all my conversations on WhatsApp with my employees? And it just took me so, that's something that, we need to keep in mind that firstly, it needs to be ethical what we're doing, right? So just analyzing any conversation. Firstly, WhatsApp will never disclose that information, right? That's a private chatting between two people. So a third number will never be able to monitor that. But at the same time, to also, to understand where, what type of capability people want out there, and to really always bring this kind of ethical, angle to it as to what do you really want to do by analyzing, your private conversations, what's the aim of that, as opposed to having a controlled environment where you are inviting to the person to engage with you so you can digest this with them, right? So I thought, maybe very particular to my user case, business case, but the journey of all of us as users with the technology, how distant can be, right, from what you want to take away out of the tool, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely an interesting discussion, because the intent of actually analyzing people's sentiment is kind of behind the scenes. I think is good. It's in order to help those people perform better on the job, help the business to improve, but potentially could be used to the detriment for bad as well. And so we also definitely ensure that whenever the user engages with the bot for the first time, there's always a consent message. It's clear POPI and GDPR language to tell them exactly what the information will be used for and not be used for, and they consent to that use as well. But yeah, the power is incredible. It's just whether people would want you to actually use all the conversations for something like sentiment analysis or not. And then if they even do know that you're monitoring it, whether they'd be really truthful and open with their conversations. I think there's a lot to learn still, but definitely something to look out for and think more about.
Definitely.
Thanks, Leanne, for this. It was a great idea. Thank you, ladies. I think that was quite fun.
Awesome.
Great. Lovely to see you all.
You
Thank
too.
you.
We're in touch.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.